Hey, wrestling fans, F and True followers, and members of the YWC. Brian Crazy.
JC Styles.
And this is F and True Wrestling, part of the F and brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. We're back with our TNA Turning Point 2011 review. Turning Point just went off the air about 5 minutes ago. Turning Point took place from the TNA Impact Wrestling Zone in Orlando, Florida on November 13th, 2011. Now, there was some talk before the event went on the air that the television title match would in fact be shown on TNA On Demand. That was not the case. It was part of the main card tonight. So that was our first match of the night. We saw Robbie E. go against the defending TNA television champion, Eric Young.
Before we get into the reviewing of the match, more importantly, which we should touch on this, today actually was the 6-year anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's passing. He passed away in November 13th, 2005, just a week or two before Survivor Series. So I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, why people keep bringing him up?" Just plain and simple, his family is very pinnacle to the wrestling business down in Mexico and here in the United States, just like the Hart family is to wrestling and up in the Canadians and down here in the United States and even the Canadian Rockies, whatever you want to call it. But with that being said, like we always do, our hearts go out, and we obviously know today was a day of grief for the Guerrero family. For the Guerrero family.
Well, and all the fans worldwide, and
there was actually 2 people sitting ringside with Eddie Guerrero signs, and one person actually had an Eddie Guerrero shirt. So, and Austin Aries at one point in his match did the Eddie Guerrero dance that he does right before he did an attempt at a frog splash but failed. But we'll get into that just a little bit later.
Exactly. But
Robbie E.
We'll jump into that in just 1 second. I just want to touch on what you had to say. Definitely for all the fans that have got to enjoy Eddie Guerrero when he was around, to all of his family members, to all the great fans out there that did enjoy him, our hearts go out to everybody. Like JC said, there's going to be a couple people out there that says, why do you got to bring up the past? Well, guess what? Eddie Guerrero was one of our favorite wrestlers, and what's a better way to carry on his legacy but to remember him?
Exactly.
So the first match on the card, Robbie E. against Eric Young. Not really too much to report here. I mean, decent couple-minute match.
Yeah, it was good for a pay-per-view opener. It was a pretty good back and forth. It was a little slow at some points, but the main thing was, okay, how long would it take before Big Rob T, or Robbie T, I guess is what they're calling him now?
Big Robbie and Little Robbie.
Yeah, Big Robbie was to get involved, which we see the distraction by Big Robbie, which led to a roll-up for the win, where we see Robbie E, the new TV champion, and he brings the TV title back to Jersey. Now, for the taglines of the match, bling equals bitches. So I don't know. I thought GTL, tan, laundry, all that stuff, was, I don't know. But we have a new TV champion.
We do.
Now maybe we'll get defended on TV.
Well, when AJ Styles had the belt, it was getting defended regularly. Then we have Eric Young with the championship, and it became more of a
gag.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I don't remember if it was Steve Carrier or the other guy over at Ringside News made that point that basically the championship is just used in comedy sketches now. Now, hopefully, it's going to be brought back to a level of prestige, but Robbie E and prestige in the same sentence is a little difficult. But, I mean, Robbie E is a great competitor. I've seen him live. I'm just joking about that statement. He is a great competitor, and I hope he does something great with the title. Good for him. He did pick up the win. Then we go into the 6-way match for the TNA, for the TNA Tag Team Championships. We see Mexican America, Hernandez, Anarquia, and Sarita defend their titles against Inc., Shannon Moore, Jesse Neal, and Toxine, who is Christina Von Airy. She fought in Shimmer, for you guys that don't know too much about her.
This was a good, solid tag team match. Tag team wrestling isn't what it was back in the day. I mean, I enjoyed the hell out of the tag team match with the Usos versus Hunico and Epico on SmackDown, and that was a fantastic match. Tonight, I was impressed again. I would have liked to have seen Inc. pick up the title, since they've been scratching and clawing at the tag team title division for the longest time now. But this has got a pretty good feud going on. I could see them probably possibly picking up the straps at Final Resolution.
Oh yeah, I see this feud continuing. I see them having a match at Final Resolution, or somehow the British Invasion is going to come back and maybe become contenders for the title.
Exactly.
I saw them, post pay-per-view. There was a little promo package for Final Resolution. I noticed that the British Invasion was featured in that promo package. Now, are they just featuring all of the active talent? I don't have any more information past that. But for the outcome, Hernandez, Anarquia, and Sarita picked up the win to retain the tag team championships. You know what? I do have to say that anytime you put Hernandez into a match, usually you'll get a good outcome.
Yeah.
Same with Shannon Moore. I mean, both incredible athletes.
Exactly.
Both incredible athletes. I mean, God, Shannon Moore going back to his days in 3-count in WCW. Just an incredible athlete. So then we go into the three-way dance with the
Which, actually, 3-count is actually, has another match or two on the new ladder match DVD, WWE ladder match DVD. They had one match on the ladder match DVD the first one, so now they have another match, because I remember seeing Shannon Moore in another one of his tag team partners. I think it was Greg.
Was it Gregor? Was it probably Evan Courageous?
Evan Courageous in the commercial. So there's definitely in the future pickups for F and True Wrestling ladder match 2.
The ladder match 2, definitely. So then we go into the next match. This is the three-way dance for the X Division title. Going into this match, we know that Aries and Cash are in cahoots with one another. But as I said in my Impact review a few days back, that I can't see Cash laying down for Aries, and I can't see Aries laying down for Cash. They might be in cahoots going into the match, even halfway through the match, but there's going to reach that breaking point, or aptly named turning point,
exactly,
where something's going to happen. Someone's going to give, and that's what happened. Austin Aries was hungry enough. He got over on Cash. 1, 2, 3. He's still your X Division champion.
Exactly.
Sorensen took a hell of a beating tonight.
He definitely took a hell of a beating, but he also cemented himself, saying, "Hey, I can hang with two of the best in the X Division."
He sure can, and he picked up an impressive win on Impact. And even though he did not win tonight, like JC said, he did hang with two of the best X Division stars going today. So then we go into the next match. This is Rob Van Dam versus Daniels. This feud has been going on for a few weeks now. This feud kind of came out of the feud between AJ and Daniels.
Exactly.
RVD came to AJ's assistance once. Daniels, in a match, tried to impale RVD with the screwdriver. That's been the running gag. We didn't see the screwdriver come into play tonight.
No, it was a solid match, which we saw RVD pick up the win.
Via 5-star frog splash. Huge. I mean, he bounced off. I mean, we've been seeing that a lot lately out of RVD. I mean, hits the 5-star, boom, right off. I mean, incredible.
And it was a little joke me and Brian had before the match. It was, we see them, basically we see Daniels pick up on the mic and go, "Hey, all joking aside, let's go wrestling hold for wrestling hold. Just like the Monarchy says, wrestling matters here. And let's do some actual wrestling." And then, the running gag is like, if you don't go with what I'm going to say, I'm going to shank you with a screwdriver. So, and it was a solid match again. RVD bought out his A game tonight, and so did Daniels. I mean, I kind of would have thought it would have been a pretty good, one would do 2 moves, the other would do 3, kind of a back and forth. But you had like 5 to 10 minutes of Daniels on top, then 5 to 10 minutes of RVD on top. And it wasn't really no good balance between the two.
I agree. The match started off, RVD was in firm control. Then, like you said, Daniels got a little pocket of time. He was doing all right. I mean, he wasn't doing anything too impressive, but he was doing okay. RVD gained control again, and he just took it home. And like JC said, I would have loved to see a little more back and forth action between two of the most technically sound wrestlers on the TNA roster today. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But they both did deliver impressive moves, and that's the thing that we do drive home here at F and True Wrestling, is that we do respect the athletes. We might talk about these matches, and we might not exactly be pleased with the outcomes or the way things were booked, but at the end of the day, we respect the athletes when we respect that they go out there and bust their asses for us, the fans.
Exactly.
And that's the one point that we want to make sure we drive home. Then we go into the backstage segment with Robbie E, Rob Terry. They're being interviewed by JB. That's when Robbie E says, "Bling gets bitches."
Yes. Pretty much plain and simple. He basically says he's taking the title back to Jersey, and then he started, I think he was running off at the mouth with the cast of the Jersey Shore again. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll see Ronnie make an appearance back on TNA and maybe go for the TV championship.
Well, that's what I said in my Impact review. I don't know if you guys got to catch it, but if you did not, this is what I said. Ronnie, I don't follow the short too much. That's more JC's thing. But Ronnie, incredible good physical conditioning.
Yeah.
You can tell the guy really does take care of himself. And if he was properly trained, I could see him being a serious competitor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely got the physique for it. He just needs to learn the moves. You can't send a guy into a ring untrained and expect him not to break his neck.
Like Ultimate Warrior?
We won't really go into
that.
Mr. James Bryan Hellwig in this episode.
Or just Warrior.
Just Warrior, yeah. I mean, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But I mean, a lot of personal demons, a lot of backstage issues with other talent.
A lot of different stories from a lot of different people that doesn't make a lick of sense.
I mean, he's saying one thing, others are saying another. Another video, another topic.
Just you want to learn everything about the Ultimate Warrior, go check out Ultimate Warrior, the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, that's a little biased in WWE's opinion. I do have to stand up for Warrior on that. Not that it's a bad DVD, and not that a lot of it's not true, but I don't know. Like I said, we could go into Warrior for 10 minutes and talk about what he's done, what he said, when he's done this, whatever have you. JC actually was out of the room for a minute while we were watching this. We went into Morgan versus Crimson. Now, these two behemoths just took everything they had out on one another. I mean, there was one point in this match, these guys were going blow for blow and smiling back at each other.
Did we miss the Knockouts match?
That's coming up a little bit later in the card. These guys are going back and forth, blow for blow, pretty much smiling back in each other's faces. They both end up hitting the referee, double disqualification. Post-match, they end up brawling yet again. I see this feud continuing. Because of the double disqualification, I guess Crimson remains undefeated.
Yeah, because it was a double disqualification.
If it was a single disqualification, I guess that could have been a mark on his record. Well, I mean, it's a mark on his record regardless. But we'll see what happens at the next pay-per-view. Then we go into a backstage segment, with Bully Ray and Scott Steiner. Ray says, "Hey, I'm one half of the best tag team ever, and I got Scott Steiner." Basically, just trying to jab at him a little bit. Then they come out. Steiner's posing on the ramp. Bully Ray's hogging the camera, showing off his calves, saying, "Look how big these calves are." When they're really not that big.
They're like pencils.
For such a big guy, he sure got some stick legs, man. I'm telling you. Then we go into Ray and Scott Steiner versus Abyss and Ken Anderson. Great match. A lot of back and forth action. Great match. The monster has been unleashed once again.
We see Abyss hit the Black Hole Slam for the win on Scott Steiner. And then post-match, we see them attack Abyss and choke slam him through the table. And then we see Abyss pop up like he was just thrown onto a bunch of pillows.
I mean, like he was broken through a piece of cardboard. It just sits right up, very reminiscent of something that Undertaker would do.
Exactly.
I mean, Undertaker would sit up and get up. I mean, Abyss just got up.
Yeah.
And I mean, Bully Ray was completely freaked out. He ended up seeking Eric Bischoff a little bit later in the night, and he's like, "You don't understand. He just got up." And Eric Bischoff's like, "I'm busy handling the situation with Garrett. I don't got time for this." And he's like, "No, you don't understand."
Exactly.
So for the outcome of this match, we see Abyss and Anderson pick up the win like JC mentioned. Post-match, they try to put him through the table, that not being successful. Then we go into the Knockouts title match. Velvet Sky defending against the returning Gail Kim. She's only been back in TNA a few weeks. She's already captured the Knockouts tag team title along with Madison Rayne, and now she's going after the Knockouts gold. You want to take this match?
It was a good match. It was a solid match, but again, the numbers played the part of the match. And we see Karen Jarrett get involved, Madison Rayne get involved, I'm sorry. And then we see Gail Kim pick up the win. And the thing I don't understand about this is what is Gail Kim, other than Karen Jarrett kissing Gail's ass, what does this really, what does that really do for Gail Kim's character? I mean, she just came back. She's got the Knockouts tag team titles now. She's going to be a tag team competitor and a singles competitor now, defending both championships?
Well, it's a similar position that Madison Rayne found herself in last year, but the reason Madison Rayne was in that position because the Knockouts division was smaller at that point. You have Gail Kim returning. I mean, how weak did that make Velvet Sky look tonight?
Exactly.
But in Velvet's defense, she did lose once the deck was stacked against her. But the end result, like JC said, Gail Kim is your new TNA Knockouts champion. So that was our second title change of the night. Then we go into Hardy versus Jarrett. And I mean, this match ends up seeing 3 separate matches. We end up with 11 matches on the card tonight.
Yes.
And
the first match, the first one.
Cover the first one.
Who we see Jeff Hardy, I should say. Hardy taking his time getting into the ring. It looked like he was limping a little bit, then just decides to just run in. As soon as he slides in, the ref rings the bell. Jarrett goes running, goes for a standing clothesline, and then Hardy ducks, hits the twist of fate. 1, 2, 3.
First match is over. Then Jeff Jarrett is beside himself. He cannot believe what just happened. So he goes, "Come on, Hardy, let's do this again." So they go at it again, and Jeff Jarrett is firmly in control in the second match. I mean, absolutely schooling Jeff Hardy. He goes for a pin. Hardy rolls him up, 1, 2, 3. Just like that, he loses for the second time in a row. I mean, the expression on Jeff Jarrett's face at this point was, I thought the guy was about to quit wrestling. He just looked so shocked.
Now, here's the funny
part. It even gets better, guys.
Hardy goes up the ramp, puts his hair up in a bun, or whatever they call them. Ponytail, whatever. Jarrett Jarrett grabs the steel chair, runs up the ramp, turns Jeff around, hits Hardy over the head with the chair, drags him down to the ring, tells Earl Hebner, "You either count or I'm going to beat your ass with the steel chair." We see Earl Hebner come down for the 2 count. Jeff kicks out and then immediately rolls him up.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, and Jeff Hardy wins and beats him for the 3rd time. And basically, I thought Jeff was going to have a heart attack right there in the ring.
I mean, his face got so red, I thought blood was going to start coming out of his eyes. I kid you not. I don't see this feud ending anytime soon. Turning Point further diffused towards Final Resolution, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of these feuds culminate at Genesis in January. So for the final match of the night, we have AJ Styles going after the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against the defending TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Robert Roode. AJ is going into this match with an ankle injury. Typically, this sort of injury takes about 2 to 4 weeks to heal, but AJ's only had about half of that time. So you gotta remember, guys, the guy's going in here in rough shape, so you gotta give him a lot of credit for what he was able to do tonight. I mean, he still hit the Pele. He was still going off the top rope. He did a suicide dive. I mean, AJ delivered, and so did Robert Roode. It was an incredible back-and-forth match. You want to say some comments, and then we'll close it out?
Sure. You know, this, like Brian said, the match was just fantastic. You know, AJ went out there and he did what he could with an injured ankle, you know, and, you know, my hat's off to him. We didn't cover one of the backstage promos following the Jeff Hardy match. We actually see the locker room congratulating Jeff, and then we see AJ shake his hand and says congratulations, and you hear Jeff say thanks, AJ, and then they cut to the promo for the main event, you know, and it was just AJ tonight bought his A game, even though that he had a busted ankle, and unfortunately Robert Roode pulled the tights to retain the title.
More than pulled the tights, I mean, he almost exposed his ass cheek. I mean, there's having a handful of tights. I mean, this is almost like ripping. I'm sure everybody out there has seen Happy Gilmore where he rips the shirt over the guy's head. I mean, it was very reminiscent. I mean, he got the tights halfway off the guy's ass almost. 1, 2, 3. Robert Roode is still your TNA champion by any means necessary. A win is a win. And it's so funny. They're playing the footage back up on the big screen, and the referee's just like, Link, make sure I got my back turned to this.
I'm not gonna complain. You know, I'm a big Robert Roode fan, have been for years. I'm a big AJ fan, have been for years. But it could have went either way, and unfortunately, Roode won, and I'm not disappointed. If AJ would have won, I wouldn't have been disappointed.
Well, you made a very good point. I mean, I was rooting for AJ, I'll be honest, throughout this match. And JC made a good point. Hey, do we really want to see 3 title changes in a 3-week period?
Exactly.
And you know what? It would kind of make Roode look weak. I mean, that's the same thing we complained about when they did it to Kenny Anderson earlier in the year. I mean, you might not like Roode's current character, but we need a strong heel in the title picture.
Exactly.
We do. I agree. And with Angle out right now, he's going to be focusing on the Olympics a little bit more. I'm pretty excited. I found out that TNA is returning to Connecticut. For any of you guys that live locally, Wallingford, Connecticut, 1/12/2012. They will be at the Dome at the Oakdale Theater. Right now, the current card looks like AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Velvet Sky, and many others will be there.
For those who live in, and we'll cover this tomorrow night, but while we're on the topic of appearances, if you live in the Connecticut area and you want to see Zack Ryder, December 8th at the Crystal Mall at K&M All-Stars, the Internet Champion will be signing autographs. It will be $75 and you get 2 autographs and a picture with, or it's $30 for an autograph, $30 for a picture. So, guys, it's up to you whether or not what you want to do, but I know me, myself, and Brian will be going and attending.
We've seen some great stars down at K&M. I was fortunate enough to meet Kurt Angle and Madison Rayne. JC met Ken Anderson, and the original WWE diva, Sunny. My God, is she still beautiful after all these years. I do have to say.
And we're going to be meeting the Internet Champion. We'll be at a Raw house show in December. So, guys, we went to so many wrestling things this year, and we've had a blast.
We feel so fortunate that we were able to see all these events and bring the show to you guys. We're getting close to the end of another year. In next May, it'll be 2 years we've been doing F and True Wrestling. In the last year, we've expanded not just to be F and True Wrestling, but to become the F and brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. Please check out our other channels if you have not already. This is our main channel, F and True Wrestling. There's also F and True Entertainment, where myself, JC Styles, and also Most Extreme Wrestling, Crystal and Chronics, produce great content on there. Everything non-wrestling related. You'll find books, you'll find movies, you'll find video games. JC's got a whole series about WWE 12 on there. So if you're interested in the game, there's more information that you'll find than anywhere else on the net right now. Yeah. That JC's put up.
Also, please check out the F and True Clique, where it's us and the members of the clique. We Are Pro Wrestling, Most Extreme Wrestling, IROC and You Know It, 91. We even have WCWI and so many other guys out there that are, people are messaging us and asking us, well, we're going to do This Week in Wrestling with the clique again. Can we be down with the F and True Clique? So, guys, it's a pretty big thing for us. And also, Brian has his own channel out for his indie wrestling promotion he wants to start up off the ground in the next couple of months or to the next year or so. It takes a lot of time and planning into pulling something off like that, especially the cap for it.
Well, capital is huge. If you don't have the money to go into it, you're not going to really be successful. But I think the biggest problem that we're currently having, and you guys will probably be surprised in this one, is that we're reaching out to all these stars, and we're reaching out to local stars, and sometimes we're not getting, positive, not that they're, talking shit or not responding.
It's just they say, hey, give me a call, and then when you give them a call, they don't answer. Then you read on their Facebook that they're booked for an indie tour.
They just took a show, and it's just like, guys, I want to make money just like you guys do. Who wakes up in the morning not to make money?
Exactly.
So, to be honest, guys, if any of you guys are from the New England area, please blast me a line. Any sort of support role that you would be willing to undertake. I am looking for people for paid positions. So this isn't, maybe our first show might be a little more on a volunteer basis until we get it off the ground. But anybody who comes in and helps out will be remembered and will be kept on. So if you really want to have your chance of breaking into something and helping me break into something for fans, this is not something I want to do. I'm not looking to make millions of dollars off of this. I'm looking at making something for the fans. Also, check out that channel. I've started producing a couple exclusive videos for that channel just to try to gain more exposure. I plan on being here on F and True Wrestling primarily, but please check out that channel. I've thrown up a couple videos. I've been doing This Week in Wrestling. Still trying to get the right format on that, so drop some comments. Let me know what you want to see on that show.
So, just to close it out, please, like you said, please check out all our great content on all our many great channels. And, guys, we got the 3-hour Raw Super Show tomorrow. Raw gets rocked and hopefully socked, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for checking out this video for the F and brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. F and True Wrestling, Brian Crazy,
JC Styles.
Comment below. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. And
click the yellow subscribe button.
SUBSCRIBE. I actually had to think about that. It is after 11 o'clock at night, guys, so that might make the blooper gag reel at the end of this year.
Alright, guys, have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Catch you later.